Hey guys, Nick and Rocco here with Taco Jeep Adventures. Going to be doing a review of the CVT Mount Washington tent. I've got a whiteboard here that has a lot of facts that I think will be valuable to you should you be searching for the right tent. I've had a few. This is my third now mounted to the truck, so kind of tried to take into account a lot of the learnings and, you know, been to the expos, been to, you know, lots of camping kind of events with various folks and seen a lot of different products. So I'm going to try and make this as helpful as possible while kind of keeping it concise. So why did I get this tent? I'm going to go over some of the fixes, which I haven't done yet. I've left that for this so you guys can see some of the things you're going to have to do, which is known. CVT knows about this. I think it sounds like they're liquidating some of their products. I understand they've been bought out, so I'm going to try and bring all that together for you guys so you get a real clear picture of what you're getting into. Also going to go over setup. I plan to do that after the fixes, so I'll link down below or put something in the description that will tell you fast forward to this point if you just want to see the setup. Otherwise, hang around. I'm going to go over all the fixes here shortly. Some other things I've got down, like measurements, what's on the website versus what's actual. I can tell you now after having a few tents and then also talking to others who have other products from other manufacturers, measurements don't seem to add up on these companies, what they've got on their website versus what the actual measurements are. That could be dimensions of the tent itself, that could have to do with the sleeping space, the mattress thickness, lots of things like that. So I'm going to tell you what they've got on their website and what the actual is. This one, I can tell you right out of the gate, is not correct, okay, as far as length, and I'll get into that. I was missing a couple things I'm going to go over. Definitely going to go over overall thoughts, you know, the value for the cost and things of that nature. So hopefully this will be helpful for you guys. So jumping right in, obviously again as mentioned, CVT Mt. Washington. This is the medium, so on their website they have a small and a medium, so basically they're smaller than their larger tent. I looked today, just about 15 minutes ago on their website, they have marked down the medium, the larger one, from $4,795 to $3,000 on their website. I ended up seeing a post about, 3-ish weeks ago, maybe 2.5, on their Instagram, that their Tennessee location was closing. And I don't know if that's as a result of being bought out by another company and liquidating and all that, but I ended up getting this tent for $2,000. Okay, so $4,795 to $2,000. I think it's a steal at $2,000. In fact, at $3,000, I think it's a really good bargain. $4,800, guys, I think is a lot, way too much for this tent. And I'll go over why I say that. But again, $2,000 for the larger tent. Some of the measurements you'll see on their website if you go look up this Mount Washington. Their closed exterior, they're saying, is 71 inches in length, which is not correct. The tent's actually 75 inches, right? So from here, and I just measured literally from this flat end surface to the other, it's 75 inches, which is important, right? You need to know if you're gonna, you know, the difference in dimensions could be the result of not fitting in your garage or not being able to take your whole family, right? So wanted to call it out. 75 inches in length. Their website says 71 inches, and on the back of the box here that it came in, it said 72 inches, right, in length. And it also, the packaging was really good. Not to jump around really quickly, I was a little nervous to see Mount Thielsen when it pulled up, but luckily it was the right tent in the box. I will say it was packaged very well. I mean, it was really, the box was perfect. And I always get nervous when things come via freight. I've had a lot of things shipped via freight, and there's times where things show up a little bit busted. So packaging was phenomenal on how they did this. A lot of companies I find don't include this rail, it seems like, in their thickness dimensions, which is important. Because my last tent, I had to back in to fit in the garage due to that, right? You expect when they say it's so thick, you're going to measure for that, and that's what you're going to get. Well, that's often not the case. So this is actually closer to 11 inches. The width is 46.5, right? So from side to side, that was accurate. But yeah, the length was way off. I mean, 4 inches is substantial. It's almost like they're not taking into account where it kind of starts rounding down on either edge, which again, I think is pretty important. I'll show you quickly. And here's my other tent. It was a great tent for a while, you have to excuse the mess. But significantly off from what's on their website to actual thickness. You'll find that with multiple brands, right? So want to definitely go over this in detail so we make sure that you guys are getting all the right measurements if you're considering this tent, because that was a learning curve for me. Open interior dimensions, which I'll verify when I do set up. They say the mattress is 1.5 inches. I've only opened this once before, so I'll go over that in more detail. But want to show you a couple of the things I'm going to be fixing to kind of kick us off here. This is how this came. Hopefully you can see that, but like that's pretty bad. I mean, the main hardware that mounts to the rail here is solid, but I mean, it could borderline just fall down, right? So don't really care for that. The other one was a little tighter, but I noticed on some of the hardware, you can see like the lock nuts here, like they're kind of coming apart a little bit. So what I ended up doing is going to Ace. I'll show you guys. I'm going to be replacing the lock nuts with some better quality ones. So you can see here, I've got some the plastic or nylon, whatever these are referred to as. I'm going to put those in between here, right, to kind of close that gap a little, apply a little pressure so that this clamp will be more solid. So I'm going to go ahead and swap that out, and I'll show you guys kind of how that came out. Also note, if you look in the rails, pretty much every single rail for that matter, hopefully the camera is picking it up, it almost looks like silver. And I had known about this because they were selling some blims at their various locations, and I'd called and spoke to customer service, so they told me that they weren't happy with how the powder coat was done on these. I guess it didn't really get down in the channels, and sure enough, the tent that I got, all the channels kind of look silver. So I am I've already started prepping it. You can get some alcohol prepping here. I'm going to get some painter's tape, and I've got some cardboard just to keep any overspray from hitting areas that I don't want to hit. And I'm going to go with this satin enamel in those. So I'm going to prep, tape, spray all the channels. Some are worse than others. I think the rear is definitely the worst, so hopefully you're able to see that. That's one of the fixes I'm going to be doing. Getting the hardware. I'll show you guys when I open this. One of the other things to note, I don't know, there was a lot of metal shavings inside this tent, a lot. So I had to vacuum all that up. You can see some of them still stuck here in the Velcro. I mean, they were all over. So not sure what that was about. I am missing the mounting rail. So it came with the brackets that go in these channels, but they're supposed to come with rails that go across, right, that you can put solar panels or, you know, different things on. Mine didn't come with that. It did come with the rainfly poles, and it came with a couple bags for like shoes and miscellaneous items that hang outside the tent. So I'll be going over all that. All right, guys, here we are. You can see the old lock nuts I removed. I've got the new nylon washers in there. With the provided, I didn't replace the bolts, right, the Allen head style bolts. And look how much better this works. I mean, it holds in place no matter where you put it now, right? When you put it down here and latch it, actually, like, you can just, it's snug, right? That's not going anywhere. I did get these. I don't think they're necessary, but just for like extra precaution, right? There's no locks or anything for these. So I just got some lynch pins at Ace, as well as this hardware I'm using. You can see here, this will not open now, right? Not that it will going down the road or anything. I may or may not continue to use these, but I just got them. I think these were 3/16 at Ace lynch pins, and they fit perfect, absolutely perfect. I didn't have to drill that hole out or anything. But anyways, yeah, hardware work, guys, success. So that's fix number one. You know, for $2,000, I'm not worried about doing little fixes like that. All right, so next up, I'm gonna go ahead and get this taped off and sprayed, and I'll show you guys. You've already seen the before, so when we come back, I'll show you the after. Hey guys, we're back. I ended up wrapping yesterday, had some interruptions, which
are all good. I need to finish taping this side, but yeah, it got too cold and windy, so decided to start tackling today. As you can see here, I've already done this back portion and this side portion. What you're going to want to do, other than masking off, you know, pretty effectively, right? Just hold this piece of cardboard as to prevent overspray on areas you don't want it. So, you know, I held it on the top when I was doing the top so it wouldn't go up and over onto the top of the tent. Not that you're really going to see anything up there, but you can see it's going to splatter a little at times, right? Constantly shake the can, but nonetheless, nice smooth patterns back and forth. I think, actually, let's go ahead and take this off. I'm going to get this pulled off and show you kind of how it came out. In my opinion, that's how it should look when it arrives. It's little things, right? It was fine how it was, but I wanted to improve. Hey guys, what's up? We're back. My man Rocco here. Wanted to continue this video and finish this up for you guys. Overall thoughts on shell design real quick. Wanted to start there kind of from the top down. It's by far one of the best shells I've seen. Many of the companies out today are making them out of like a ABS or a plastic composite, which my former tents were, and I can tell you that structurally, just you wonder after how many years is that really going to hold up. One of mine did not. It cracked, which the company did take care of, which was nice. But this shell is, I mean, it's crazy hard, and the fitment around the edges of this tent I'll show shortly are really good, and the trim and how they've put that nice weather seal, similar to how Diamondback does on their covers. They've got that same thing under here, which is pretty nice. So yeah, the shell I would say is about as good as it's going to get, minus me having to paint inside of those rails. When this arrived, when I opened the package, it was really well wrapped. But to give you an idea of how strong the shell is, I could see that there was like dust shoe prints on the plastic that was wrapped around this tent. So I do believe you could walk on this. It's that rigid of a shell. So starting there, it's awesome. The latch design, I mean, once you address the hardware, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, it's one of the better I've seen. So yeah, can't say much more about that. I just, you know, you guys saw I had to fix it, but the latch design is great. The struts you're going to see here in a moment, they're really powerful, and that's probably due to the weight of this tent. It's a pretty heavy tent. So I'll hold the straps to keep it from like springing open really fast, which you'll see on setup. So struts seem to be pretty solid. I do like how they painted the ladder black, and kind of the underbody of the tent's also black. It looks pretty nice. I think the ladders, it feels a little cheaper than the other tents I've had and seen of friends, but nothing bad to say at this point. I haven't even used the tent yet. I've only opened it once before, but the ladder did feel a little cheaper. The bags are okay. You'll see kind of storage for the shoes, and I've seen better quality as far as the bags go, but I mean, they come with it. You know, it's a nice thing to have when you're getting up at night or getting into the tent at night. You take your shoes off, you can put them in the bag. You can drop your wallet, keys, whatever, miscellaneous items in the other bag. So they are really nice to have. The interior is decent. I'll go over that in more depth. It does come with a little light. The mattress they claim is 1.5 inches. I'm going to verify that. Overall, the screens, the windows are decent. The rain flies I want to show you. I like there's a couple companies now, 23-0, I think Colorado 4x4. You can tell a lot of these tents are made in a similar factory. These have kind of that extra side profile on the rain flies, which is nice. My former tents did not, and I think that's going to be better for both weather and just overall light coming into the tent. Tent poles are pretty decent. They're kind of, I've seen better ones, but they're a little thin, but they do the job. I'll see how they do in wind and things like that, but nonetheless they're pretty decent. I'll confirm the space. I like the color pattern of this tent. You'll see. I think they did a good job with that. You should call if you're interested in this tent and see if they'll sell their blims, because the person I spoke to kind of made it seem like they weren't happy with things like the powder being missing in the rails, or not, as good as they would have liked. So based on who I spoke with, even though I got this from the Tennessee location that was closing at $2,000, I think this is considered a blim tent, and for $2,000 it's an absolute steal. So anyways, enough of that. Let me go ahead and get this opened up so you guys can see the tent that you're here to look at. Depending on what your setup is, I find it convenient to climb up here like so, and again, these struts are pretty strong, so I'm going to get it started. Then I'm going to grab this to keep it from flying open, because it's pulling pretty hard on me right now. Alright, and there's more metal shavings falling. Let me show you guys this so you can see I'm not crazy. I vacuumed this tent out quite a bit. Let me climb up here. You'll see there's more falling from, I don't know where. It looks like maybe up in there. Maybe I need to vacuum up in there a bit, but all those little shiny silver pieces are metal shavings, and they're kind of everywhere. And I have already, like I said, vacuumed this out once. All right, don't want to focus on that the whole time. One thing I will say is this cord that they've included. Some of the manufacturers are starting to do this now, which I like. You just bring it down here and put it down in this channel, so you don't have to like grab it and walk around the other side and hook it on, which is kind of a pain when you're by yourself. So once you pull this down, you get it in these little grooves here. So that's all good. Unstrap the ladder. You guys are gonna have to bear with me. I'm trying to hold the camera and do this so you can see it all. That's another part that customer service told me, for whatever reason, their whatever the heck, stargazer, sunroof, whatever you want to call it, is not clear. They did say that over time it will clear up. They said they didn't recommend using any solutions to wipe it down. I'm going to inspect that a little further and see. That's the worst part of the tent by far. All right, guys, had to set that down so I can continue showing you how this works. I usually just flip this over here out of the way. Go ahead and pull your ladder out. Watch out for the falling metal shavings. I gotta get this out of the way. Alright, and you want to start from the bottom on these. Still getting used to the controls on this one. They're a little different than some of the other tents I've seen. For whatever reason, this bottom one's fixed, but something to call out here. I think the struts are maybe not long enough, and why I say that, there's two tents that look very similar on the market. Roof Nest makes a tent, I think it's the Condor or something rather. You're gonna see that they look almost identical. I saw a review on that one too. They had the same experience. When you pull this platform all the way down, the shell portion of it is coming down with the platform, like it's wedging like this. So if you pull, as you saw, what it naturally wants to do is it wants to pull that shell up, which brings the floor up. Now when you lay on that, that's going to flatten out, right? But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the strut design, it might not be long enough. I read in some comments on that video that Roof Nest was sending them longer struts as a fix, so FYI. So anyways, let me get the rain fly pulls here. You guys will notice there's going to be, I believe, 6. Yep, and there's going to be 2 that are different from the other 4. They're going to have this little curvature in them. So the 2 that have the little curve, I'm assuming go in the front, and then the pairs go on either side. Man, mine's not stopping. It's wanting to go all the way in there. That's interesting. That doesn't feel right. I'm going to see if it holds. You'll notice inside of here, there's a piece of material here that's got a little opening. That's the only place I can see that this would go. So we're going to set that one there. Yeah, it's interesting, guys. Again, this is the second time I put this up. Alright, so overall not too bad setup time. These are the awnings, rain flies. You can see here they've got kind of that added side piece on either side, and you can tell right there, I mean the sun is shining directly at this tent right now. You can see my shadow, and look at the shade on the window. Really like that. On this side I don't have it open because for those of you who have Tacomas that have had these tents before, you're going to know this, but you know, the cab is kind of in the way to put your poles. So one thing I'm going to do is run in the channels. Hey Rocco, running the channels up here like a little loop and a bungee. Hey buddy, so that I can open that side as well. So that's a good solve for that issue. Or you can just put it right into the side of your rack or whatever, right? So that you can open that side and get those views. While I'm standing right here, this is what I was talking about inside the tent. These are supposed to open and close this up, but when you pull it through, the Velcro is not really in the best of places to do that. Real quick, here's the bags. You can see they're literally just, I mean, they're real thin too. They're just bags to drop stuff in. I like how my other one was kind of sorted. It had, you pulled this up, it Velcroed all the way down the side, whereas this could get a little water in there if we get a good rain or something out there. But it had like little pockets and stuff to organize your stuff. This you just drop in. So I just took some measurements on their website here. They are reflecting sleeping footprint. You probably can't see this very well. 69 inches by 81. I find that to be fairly accurate. Mattress, I'm getting about 78. So they're considering 81 just beyond that. And then let's see, width for mattress, yeah, is about 69 inches. So that is what I am showing on their site, and I do show that to be accurate. They're saying they got 280G ripstop polyurethane coated polyester and cotton blend. You can see the struts here. They look like they're mounted pretty solid. Yeah, I don't think they're long enough. Watch this. If I'm moving down to this side, you see how you, like, something's not right there. These I had on a prior tent. I'm assuming this is for extra windy nights. You snap that into place so that your shell doesn't come down on you. I mean, if you're sleeping in that kind of wind, you probably have bigger problems. It did come with kind of like a like an attachable awning shade cover that I don't have in the tent. I think I left that in the garage. Again, there's the sky gazer window or whatever you want to call it, which is on the other side of the screen there. Man, it is super cloudy. Yeah, I don't know how that's ever going to clear up. They said that they're hearing that they're clearing up over time. I find that hard to believe, but it's fixed. This is not Velcroed on here. And I started looking, I'm like, wait a second, this has Velcro. What I'm assuming these are for is if you wanted to maybe take all this down, roll it up, right? Or I guess you could just tuck it out there, and look what fits perfectly, so you can have windows in your tent and still be sealed, right, from breeze or anything like that, but be able to see out, which could probably make for some pretty cool views. All right guys, GoPro at 4%. Hopefully this works. Final thoughts. Almost $4,800 when they were running this tent for a little bit. Way too much. $2,500 a bargain. $3,000 I think due to the hard shell is probably worth it. At $2,000 what I got, I think it's an absolute steal, even with all the fixes. The metal shavings, the strut design, and that issue's kind of a bummer, you know, having to fix things like the clamps and paint around the shell. I think is unfortunate. The QC did not catch that, or they didn't, I don't want to say care, I don't want to come off the wrong way, but I think that's a little unfortunate at that price point that they were marketing this product. But overall, I think the shell is fantastic. I'm still really excited about this tent because I'll actually be able to fit the whole family now. Can fit in the garage better. If you can get this for $2,000 to $2,500, it's a steal. I should have looked up what the smaller one is for those of you who don't want this bigger tent, and I can do that really quickly here. So when I click on small, they've got the small is marked down from $4,595, $4,600 to $2,500. The mounting rails that are supposed to come with this, it's been over a week since I called and left a voicemail. They're probably going through some chaos with their closure of the Tennessee location, I would imagine. and sales going on and all that, but I haven't heard back, so hopefully I'll get those. One thing to note is that's going to add extra height that I currently do not know what that's going to be, if it's going to be an inch more or 2 inches more. The light, it's probably in the garage or in my spare room where we keep a lot of our camp gear. It's basically this little light that you can hang in the tent, and it has multiple settings. It's pretty decent, you know, at least it comes with a light. I will say some tents do not. One thing I did like about my Tough Stuff tents that I've run is they had exterior and interior built-in LED lighting that you could do amber, and you could do cool white and warm white settings on, and then you can control the brightness, and it was just a USB, so I had this little battery pack that we used for that. I really liked that a lot. It really illuminated the campsite outside at night on amber, which didn't really attract a lot of bugs. Kudos to manufacturers who are doing that. It's 2022. Everyone should be doing that in their tents, in my opinion. Alright guys, going to quickly show you the takedown portion of it. Not going to go through every little thing. Taking the poles out, pretty self-explanatory. This I just pulled off of the Velcro and kind of wrapped it up so it won't be hanging out when this comes down, right? So the next step is going to be, once you've got your flies all down and the awning, it sets you up here. You're going to get the ladder, lift up, and let it kind of exhale a moment. You will see it looks like, yeah, here's the main one. You start there. Once you collapse that, then the whole thing will collapse. Again, I utilized the truck to get up here. And then this one's got a Velcro one, whereas others kind of have a clasp. So I'll show you guys what I did so you can see. It's just a little ladder, I guess, safety thing. I don't know that it's really needed, but I just Velcroed this piece here, right? And once all that's done, pull this back around. Hopefully you guys can still see this. And you recall, we've got this in the channel down here. Let me set this up over here. Hopefully that's an okay spot for a moment. I'm going to take that out on either side, and that's really going to help tuck in the material. I would pull this in as much as you can. It's going to be one less thing that you got to tuck as you close this shell down. Do the same on the other side. Pull that material from the window in. And I would suggest getting this cord up as high as you can on here. Seems to pull it in, or right about midway, I guess is okay. And then this has to come up and over before you close it. This cannot be underneath that cord. All right, let me set you guys up back down here so you can see. Next step, guys, is going to be to pull this down. There's two attachments points, one here, one here. You want to kind of keep an even amount of pressure on that. Start pulling it down. And not all of you are going to have this, but luckily I've got these Diamondback cleats. So I'm going to just twist that around there for a moment while I check to make sure I don't need to tuck anything. Other side. Looks to be coming down pretty nicely. Yeah, these come in handy for that. Otherwise this would fling right back open because it's got a lot of tension on it. Right there is about where I feel the tension kind of let go. It's a good point to go ahead and start tucking this in because it's a pretty heavy shell and it's almost going to fall down, in that it's not going to be hard to close. It's basically going to close itself. So you just stuff all this up in here, grab this handle, get your hand out of there, pull that down, get the clamp in place, and that's it. And there she is. So you can see, let me give you guys a view of the top here. Guess we haven't shown that yet. It's just a smooth, flat surface there. That's it, guys. Wanted to add that in. I hope this review has been super helpful. I try to research as many reviews as possible when buying something, and again, there was not a lot on this tent, so hope that serves you guys well. Would appreciate a little bit of love, Also, feel free to check out some of our other content. We do a lot of wheeling, exploring, camping stuff. Starting to do more of that. But anyways, until next time, take care.